All right, fantastic. Series 5 of the Founder Friday. We're already on episode 2. Julia, wonderful to have you here. For those people, and I don't know who they are, but don't know who you are, please, can you tell us who you are and what you're working on?
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm the founder of Wave 6. So, Wave 6 is a lifestyle health and well-being tracking app that lets you track more holistically. So, you can track sleep, nutrition, movement, relaxation, relationships, and self. Because I found on my health journey, I was looking at tracking apps and they were all very niche. They were all very focused on one specific aspect, like exercise or nutrition or sleep. But I wanted something that lets you track more holistically and correlate all these very different data points in your life and see what the outcomes are and see what the patterns are that about what works for you and what doesn't.
Okay, so like all good entrepreneurship, it started from a personal pain point, right? You couldn't solve your own problem with what was out there in the market and decided to make it for yourself and I guess other people that are like you, right?
Exactly. So, yeah, I'd had health problems. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, neurological condition without a cure, just shortly after the birth of our third child. And for 10 years, I was struggling with my health, and I was diagnosed with Lyme disease as well. And I followed the programs, the things that my doctors told me. Take immunosuppressants for the MS, take antibacterial antibiotics for the Lyme disease. But I thought I need to know which disease I was suffering from and need to get better. And that's when I realized I need to take responsibility of my own health. And I was, yeah, I went to the last Lyme disease specialist and he said, Julia, I don't think you've got it. And I broke down and I thought, okay, I need to change tack here and need to stop following the doctors and specialists and need to look what I myself can do. And so I started my health journey and I worked with a nutritional therapist to get myself as healthy as possible. I always had this vision of if you got a dirty room, the flies come, and if you clean up the room, the flies go. So I thought if I get as healthy as possible, maybe my body will be able to keep it in check. And the nutritional therapist started really slowly, just said, cut out gluten, cut out dairy, because I can see from your blood results that you got detoxification issues. And even those two really small steps took me months to implement.
Well,
Um,
they're not small steps, are they? When you try and take gluten and dairy out of your diet, that's an awful lot of stuff.
It is, but she was brilliant because she said you don't need to do it overnight. You don't even need to do it in the next 2 weeks. Just take your time and make it a small, sustainable steps. And now, I don't know, 15, I don't know, 12 years later, 13 years later, I'm still doing it. So that was the initial point, and it was really mind-opening for me. Um, because all of a sudden I could see I got responsibility for my own health, and there are things I can do proactively to change the outcome of how I'm feeling. And that also, I've got it here, changed, 2015. I took it then further and kept a little diary about all the things I was doing, trying to see, what was helping me. So I put in, what I was eating, what my symptoms were those days, how my energy score was. But I realized that this is really restrictive because I couldn't correlate all the data together. So in the front,
Mm.
I was tracking my periods, for example, but I couldn't overlay it and couldn't go through it. So I always thought, oh, I need some tech to help me decipher all this and find the patterns. And that's when I looked at tracking apps. And the funny thing was, my energy, the fatigue was my big problem at the beginning. So I looked at energy trackers. And I thought just, no, 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 I don't want to track my energy and my electricity and gas consumption. I want something else. And then all the other trackers, they were also, very focused on exercise or relaxation or nutrition. but I wanted something that looked at all the other aspects as well and correlate those. So when I couldn't find anything, and believe me, I really looked, I thought, okay, let's, once my energy will stabilize and I will feel better, that might be something I'd like to look at.
That's super interesting. And one of my reflections is that whenever I meet you, you're always full of positive energy. You've always got a great big smile. You're always open to other people, and it just shows how much work that takes to always be like that. But I've never seen you in any situation where you're not those things. That's really interesting. Even when we bumped into each other in Exeter when you were going to the hockey and stuff, you're still exactly the same person. Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, 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 I'm generally a very positive, optimistic person, and I have to say that that really helped me on this journey as well, because I still get out of bed in the morning, and I'm still super excited about, wave six and what I can hopefully do and what the impact I can hopefully have for other people in a similar situation. And yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, loving it.
Now, tell me, why is it called Wave Six? I mean, it almost feels like it should be called Agency or something at this point with the way you've
Yeah.
described it. But what does Wave Six mean?
So it was quite funny. I went to I was at my parents' house in Germany for a weekend to see them, and I locked myself in my old bedroom and thought I really need um, a good name for this, because I've called it first "What Works for You," and then everyone said that this is too generic. You need a name. And I thought, yeah, but this is literally what works for you is the essential thing. By that time, we also already had the W as a logo, and I thought, okay, it needs to be something with a W. It needs something I can pronounce with my German accent, and then I came up with WAVE, because the wave stands for the ripple effect a single lifestyle change can have, and it's rippling through your life and creates a big wave, hopefully. And six is for the six categories you can track: so sleep, nutrition, movement, relaxation, relationships, and self.
If you'd have kept that to five, you could do that on one hand, much easier, right? And just six, and always add the
Wave
extra.
five doesn't sound right. Oh
Yeah, it
yes,
sounds like a pop group, doesn't
and,
it?
and then really nice thing. And then I went down into the kitchen, and my mother was cooking, and I said, I think I found a name. It's Wave Six, and she said, I like it. She could pronounce it. She could remember it, and I thought, okay, that's it.
Yeah, very good, very good. No, one of the standouts for me this year is obviously you won your People's Choice Award in Bristol at the speed date demo night format. And I don't know what you remember about that, but my reflection was that when you did your first demo, which was, I think you did four or five on the evening, you were a little bit faltering. You kind of, I wouldn't say you fell on your face, but you definitely weren't in your rhythm. But by the end, you were like calm and confident, and your energy was up. Whereas everybody else had dipped by the time they'd done their third one, they were kind of dropping down a little bit in terms of they'd done all their intensity, and you were a clear winner on the evening. So many people voted for you. It was a really big gap. So, what do you remember about speed date demo night and how it felt to do that?
I loved it, because you only changed the format, I think, on the day or the day before, from one big presentation or pitch to everybody to that format. And first I was daunted and I thought, oh my God, four times. But I urge anyone who wants to practice their pitching to enter one of those, and especially in the speed date format, because you get so much out of it doing your pitch four times in a row and getting all this amazing feedback. Because you did it in a small group, the feedback was very intimate, personal, intense. Yeah, it was
There's
brilliant,
no
brilliant
hiding, is
format.
there? There's no hiding in
No,
that format.
no hiding, and it's just there was so much energy in the room. It was incredible. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I felt I could have gone on for four more or whatever. But it was, yeah, I got a lot of out of it. It was definitely something I would recommend to anyone.
We pioneered that format only last year because of a venue that restricted us in the way that we could do things, and we just had to come up with a different approach. And I loved it so much the first time we've done it. It's now become a constant part of the calendar. It's actually my favourite format. all the formats are good,
Yeah.
but this is definitely my favorite. And
The,
partly because I
uh,
think people make friends out of it. It's
yeah.
like there's this collegiate nature of the way people are asking questions and building off of each other, where they end up with this sort of rapport and desire and curiosity, if you like, to talk to each other more afterwards, which is brilliant. Great community
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Exactly. People came up afterwards. The only shame about it is that I've no idea what the other founders were doing. So you missed the other founders' pitches.
Yeah,
That was, yeah, because usually build a rapport with them more than with the audience sometimes, standing in the wings and being nervous together. But like this, it was, yeah, fantastic atmosphere, great audience. Would definitely
thank
recommend.
you for that. Yeah, no, I'm glad you like it too. We made a rule about 4 years ago to never do events that we didn't enjoy ourselves. And I know it seems like a silly thing to do, but one of our events got so big that actually we as organisers didn't enjoy it because it became like three events going on at the same time, and we didn't really get to talk to people, and it was all about the faff of slides and all the rest of it, and it went orchestration, if you like. And we just resolved at that point to do smaller events that were more engaged, that had more human interaction, that we actually enjoyed ourselves. And whenever we get close to doing one of the big events or the things that we don't enjoy, we just stop ourselves. It's like a real mindful thing. And we figure if we enjoy it and then that's good, but if everybody else does too, then that's even better, right?
Yeah. But it's brilliant to be in a position like this where you can just say, okay, it's enough. I'll cut it down
Well, we had
again.
to make the
It's
mistakes
good.
first.
But this is entrepreneurship in a way. You learn by
Absolutely.
doing, and then you pivot and change. And I think it's absolutely right what you say. You need to do what you enjoy, because your well-being and you're the most important person, and you need to do what you believe in and what you stand for. So
Well,
yeah,
I don't
definitely
know if
support
we're
this.
in our own bubbles, of course, but I think we do a better job as a result of actually knowing that we're enjoying what we're doing rather than, I don't know, following a prescription of what people expect us to do. So yeah, I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
see. And maybe there is a lesson in there somewhere. So tell me,
Mm.
do you have entrepreneurship in your background, in your family, in your education, anything like that?
Not at all, not at all. My father is a businessman, but that's as far as it went. I came to the UK 30 years ago to study landscape architecture. Had a very creative background and career, which I really, really liked. So if any one of you knows the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fountain in Hyde Park, I was the
Mm,
assistant landscape architect on that one.
no
So with
way.
an opening with the Queen and Prince Philip. So it was, I loved it. Really, really nice career, lovely profession. But then we had our first daughter in London, and then we thought, okay, this London is too big. We want to go somewhere more family friendly. So we moved to Bath and had three children in quick succession. And then I developed, right after I had the third one, developed my health problems and then couldn't go back to work. So during that time that I wouldn't even say took out of working, because it just was my decision, and I couldn't have worked basically. I did set design for local theatre companies, which was again, nice creative work, working with people um, in a project in a team, and then when my energy stabilized again, I thought, what do I do now? I came to a crossroad. I thought, do I go back into landscape architecture, or do I do something about my thoughts about, holistic health tracking, and do something where I can use those 10 years of experience of my health journey to hopefully help other people and to have an impact. And I found a nice landscape architectural firm in Bath who I thought, oh, I could maybe work for. And I looked at their website, and there was this picture, oh God, see it, of this row of computers on both sides. And I just thought, my heart just fell. I thought, no, 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 I don't want to go back to this. Let's try and do something. So I became an entrepreneur. I didn't even know what the word that was a thing. I just did it, and yeah, great journey. Learning by doing every day, pretty much. So yeah, there was no entrepreneurial background at all in there. But thankfully, there's amazing networks like Canopy, like Set Squared that are very welcoming and supportive and happy to help. So that, yeah, that's a great bonus.
Oh, and we met originally through the Set Squared stuff. Maybe it's a good chance to reflect. What have you got out of the Set Squared stuff, side of things, and what have you got out of being part of Canopy?
So I wish I'd heard about Set Squared a year before I actually did, because I thought, okay, let's do this, but I didn't know where to start, and that was 4 or 5 years ago. And um, yeah, I just wish I'd known that there was this amazing community out there, and it would have helped a lot at the beginning. And since I joined Waves Set Squared, yeah, I learned a lot. They're amazing courses, amazing supportive people like yourself, and the great webinars, workshops, helping people to learn all about entrepreneurship and business things. And then, yeah, being a part of Canopy is incredible. I love the international aspect of it, and just having a very supportive network of incredible people who are happy to give up their time and support, you know, people like me who come at this from a completely different angle, but who are happy to help and support. So it's very much appreciated.
Have you had any mentoring sessions in the Canopy stuff? Any of those that stand out?
Yeah, that was yeah. Pedro was great. It was just a laugh, and just really positive, and some great characters. And it's just you feel the love and the support of these people, and just willing you on and trying to, yeah, pass on their knowledge and experience to you. And it is incredible. But people, one day I want to be a mentor as well and be able to be in a position that I can be able to give back what I've received, because it's yeah, brilliant program.
Well, I mean, you're already a role model, and as a People's Choice winner, you're always welcome to be a peer mentor as well. Somebody who's showing what 18 months, 2 years ahead looks like, and helping to pull people through. That's an incredibly powerful thing if you ever want to do it. Now, as we come towards the end of the interview, I always want to ask, what's your best advice for a first-time founder? But before we switch to that, is there anything you want to ask me? I'm always open to that in the middle of these things.
Yeah, what was your vision for Canopy?
Well, it was a combined vision, and a lot of the stuff that was in our origin story was really from my co-founder Matt and his wife Kelly. And what he saw and what he taught me about in Boston was how everything was very siloed. So we were like the 58th incubator to open in Boston, and everybody, had their little niches and their little crews, and it was almost like everybody was a different shape or color, in everything you did. What Matt said was, I know all these incredible people across all these different things, and they never talk to each other. So what we want to do is we want to show them how it's all interconnected, and we want to bring them together under one roof through our events or through our co-working or through our incubation programs or whatever we can do, so that once they're there and they can see each other, we can then, and he's a bit of an activist as Matt, so he said, I want to activate them on particular things, what is called in Boston wicked problems, so systemic problems that you can't easily fix. And he said, once I've got the smartest people in the room that are all helping each other and I tell them about these things, I reckon we can do something really mega. So back in 2014, we were talking about algorithmic discrimination and homelessness in Boston and all these kind of things with these groups. And it was Matt's like joy to actually try and activate folks to think about this. And our opening keynote speech was from Noam Chomsky, talking about the role of innovation in peace and international security. And again, that was a feed from Matt. That was Norm's one of his mentors and personal friends, and he invited him along to give this keynote and sort of set the tone for how we would act in our future mission. And that was the only talk we've ever had to arrange that needed the police escort for the main guest, because he can be relatively polarizing. We filled the auditorium at Tufts that day with sort of 400 folks to come and see him. Yeah, so the idea was basically how interconnected everything was and how we could put people together to create to sort of people with the same DNA. So we had literally in our first space in Boston somebody running for state senator alongside non-profits, alongside artists. We had dogs and kids in the space. We had tech people as well, building hyperscale ideas, all from this little space in the center of Somerville, opposite one of our favorite bars, over the top of a Citizens Bank, and it sort of started from there. Yeah, it was an interesting origin, that's for sure. And it's sort of morphed and pivoted and moved around and become Lisbonified and moved into different countries and stuff all the way since 2014.
Brilliant.
Great
No.
question. Thank you for that. Not many people ask that one actually. All right. So, what's your best advice for a first-time founder who's watching this?
Basic. First of all, I heard or read something the other day which really stuck with me, and it's remember that the compass was invented before the clock. And I love that because I thought, yes, you need your direction first of all, and you take as long as it takes for you. And it especially resonated with me because I always said, my top three priorities are the children, it's my health, and then it's wave six. So I know that my journey takes longer. I know wave six could have been already much more successful, but and that's the main issue I want to impart to everybody who thinks about this journey. It's you need to be really mindful of your well-being. Your well-being in your health are your biggest assets, and if you don't look after those, whichever your idea you've got, if it's the most amazing idea, you won't be able to follow it through. So from my journey, being in bad health, being rock bottom, I just know that, for example, I will never ever get into burnout because I learned my lessons that my health is incredibly important. And I just know, for example, 3 weeks ago, I did a conference and I'm still recovering from it. And yeah, it takes longer, but so be it. Then there's nothing I can do, but I know I will recover. I got the trust in my body and then trust in my systems and then trust in all the steps I'm taking to help myself. But yeah, the most important thing I would say is be mindful of your health, prioritize your sleep, prioritize your relationships, look after yourself. And if there's a deadline, yes, of course, push for it, but make sure you recover after and put healthy boundaries in place. Learn to say no, and enjoy the journey and fall in love with your problem, follow it through, and yeah, be the person you want to be. And as you said earlier, you do what you want to do, create the life you want to live, and try and be the best you can, and live a happy and healthy life and look after yourself.
Thanks, Julia. That's really amazing. And thank you for all the positivity that you bring to the community, for sharing your story today and being a role model that you are. It's really special when people do this and show everybody that there's so many different ways that you can start, so many different ways that life gives you these journeys, and suddenly the opportunities are there. And if you grab them, you can go on and build things like you have done with Wave 6. So congratulations to you. And thank you very much for
Thank
being
you
here
very
today.
much. No, thank you very much for having me. That was a very lovely chat. Thanks, Stuart.